At 17, the path to college felt like an open door until my parents closed it. They needed a built-in babysitter for my younger sister, Mira, while my brother, Talon, remained their undisputed golden child. So, I walked away, carving out a life for myself, unaware that the real battles were yet to come. I'm pushing 30 now, living a life I chose, but when all this began, I was 18. My days were split between a warehouse called Larch Point and a home where my role shifted with my parents' moods. Some days, I was the responsible oldest, others, the one who should have planned better. Mostly, I was free childcare disguised as a son. Rowan, my father, seemed permanently confused and mildly angry. Kira, my mother, believed shouting was a leadership strategy. Talon existed in a constant spotlight, while Mira, the youngest, was the only one who didn't choose chaos. The babysitting began the day Mira was born and never truly ended. I was 11 when Rowan first declared, "You're old enough to help now," a phrase he'd repeat like a mantra for the next 7 years. By middle school, my afternoons were a familiar rhythm: pick up Mira, heat leftovers, prevent Talon from toaster-based arson, entertain Mira, and start dinner so Rowan and Kira could make their grand entrance, like judges on a cooking show. Any mention of personal plans was met with, "Arden, family comes first," which always meant, cancel them. Freshman year, a field trip was sacrificed because Kira double-booked herself and informed me the teacher would understand. They did. They understood I wasn't permitted a life. Talon, meanwhile, received everything: new consoles with every holiday, fresh sneakers at the first sign of a scuff. If he sneezed, it was a medical crisis. If I sprained an ankle, Rowan questioned my dramatics. Mira wasn't the problem. She was a child who clung to any source of genuine affection, often sleeping in my room after Rowan and Kira instructed her, "Go to Arden if you wake up." By 15, I functioned on autopilot: breakfast, walk Mira to school, rush home after my own classes, childcare, chores, dinner, then homework in the dead of night. Talon, focused on his future, apparently required no household involvement. When I was 16, Rowan and Kira took a weekend trip without warning or a sitter. "We'll be gone Friday to Sunday. Keep Mira on her schedule." Uncle Bram dropped by, asking their whereabouts. Judging by Facebook, I told him, a cabin with a hot tub. He blinked, then advised me to lock the doors. By 17, college brochures were hidden behind a drawer, visions of a life beyond unpaid sibling raising dancing in my head. I kept my plans secret, having endured years of being told my dreams were impractical. Weeks after my 17th birthday, I hesitantly asked about community college. Rowan snorted before I finished the sentence, as if I'd proposed joining NASA. Kira waved me off. "We can't afford that, and we need you here for Mira, right?" I replied, "Silly me. Should have filled out the FAFSA for Babysitter Academy." Rowan stared, sarcasm seemingly a foreign concept to him. A month later, my first Larch Point paycheck arrived. "Before I could even take off my boots," Rowan said, "Good. Now you can contribute. Rent is due on the 1st. No congratulations, no warning, just another responsibility piled onto mine. Talon, on the other hand, received SAT prep that cost more than my entire savings. I watched Mira during every single one of his sessions, tours, and meetings about his bright, glorious future. My senior trip? Cancelled. "We need you here that week." When Uncle Bram called, asking about college, I said, "Depends. Does searching under couch cushions count?" He sighed, promising to check in later. The whole setup was glaringly obvious. Rowan and Kira leaned on me for everything. Talon wandered through life bathed in a spotlight. Mira clung to me like a shadow, the only stable person in her world. I had become a background employee in my own family. The boiling point was coming, and it wouldn't start with yelling or grounding or a dramatic blow-up. It began with an overheard conversation. By spring, I had 3 certainties: a warehouse job, a folder of college brochures hidden under my mattress, and a babysitting schedule that read like a court order. Rowan and Kira taped it to the fridge as if unveiling a home renovation plan. Monday through Friday, Mira pickup, homework help, dinner prep, bath time, lights out. Saturdays, household duties. Sundays, flex responsibilities, parent code for whatever else they decided I'd be doing. I stared at the schedule. Talon gazed at his reflection in the microwave. Mira colored at the table. This looks fair to us, Rowan said. Totally, I replied, though I might have notes. A week later, I made the mistake of asking about college again. I'd just arrived home from the warehouse. Mira ate cereal, Talon demolished digital enemies at full volume. Community college deadlines are coming up, I said. What's the plan? Rowan snorted, as if the concept of me having a plan was stand-up comedy. Kira waved me off. Arden, we can't help with that. We need you here for Mira. Running off, according to her, meant a 20-minute drive to campus, Rowan added. You're good with hands-on work. You don't need college. Talon needs opportunities. You understand that? Sure, I said. I'll get him a crown while I'm at it. Kira told me to stop being childish. Hard to grow up, I replied, when I'm not allowed to. That 45-second conversation soured my entire month. Responsibilities piled up, as if testing gravity's limits. One Saturday, Rowan and Kira announced they were taking Talon to tour a university 4 hours away. I'd be watching Mira the whole weekend. Cool, I said. Enjoy your trip. We expect the house clean when we get back, Rowan added. Want me to rotate the crops, too? I asked. They left. I spent the weekend making Mira snacks, helping her build a cardboard village, washing dishes, folding laundry that wasn't mine. When they returned, Rowan immediately launched into a speech about Talon's potential. Mira ran to show me a drawing. Kira walked in, saw crumbs on the counter, and said, Arden, you can't even do the basics right. I opened my mouth, closed it, then opened it again. You're right, I said. I should have meal prepped for the entire town, too. Rowan rubbed his temples as if I were a migraine on legs. School wasn't much better. My English teacher, Miss Dar, asked why I hadn't turned in a project. Oh, I was too busy running a small daycare in my living room, I told her. She didn't laugh. Do you need to talk to someone? No, I said. Talking's above my pay grade. She wrote something down. I pretended not to notice. Then came my warehouse job payday. I walked in with my first check, proud for maybe 3 seconds before Rowan said, Good. Rent is due on the 1st. Rent? I repeated. You're an adult now, he said. Funny, I countered, because yesterday I wasn't allowed to leave the house without permission. Kira added, You live here. You should contribute. My contribution, I said, is raising half your children. Talon laughed. Rowan sent him upstairs. Later that week, as I made spaghetti and Mira practiced writing letters, Talon opened the fridge, grabbed the last soda, and said, Mom says you're being dramatic about school. Tell her I'll give her a demonstration, I replied. What? Never mind. Go hydrate with your personality. Meanwhile, Rowan and Kira planned a spring break trip for Talon to tour more universities. When they said I'd stay home with Mira for practice, I asked, Practice for what? Responsibility, Kira said. I think I've met the requirement, I countered. By the middle of my junior year, the schedule on the fridge looked like a war map. Mira had dance rehearsals. Talon needed rides to study groups. Rowan suddenly had late shifts. Kira had meetings. Every arrow pointed to me. Then, Uncle Bram called. Arden, what's going on over there? A lot of character development, I said. That's not funny. I'm not laughing. Everything was already aligned, the babysitting, the schedule, the college denial, the rent, the never-ending demands. The crack in the situation didn't begin with yelling or grounding or some dramatic explosion. It started with one overheard conversation. It kicked off on a random Tuesday night. Mira drew cats with 6 legs. Talon ate cereal as if it owed him money. I swept crushed crackers off the floor because Mira had made snow. Rowan and Kira were in the hallway, talking, or rather, doing that hushed, irritated whisper argument parents do when trying not to alert the natives. I wasn't trying to listen, but they were 2 feet away, and Kira whispered like she was on stage. All the money needs to stay for Talon. Arden can manage. He always manages, Kira said. Exactly, Rowan agreed. Talon needs a future. Arden's already contributing. That's enough. Contributing. That was a new term for paying rent and raising their kids. Then Kira said, if Arden leaves, we lose the child care. And Mira is not ready for a sitter. Rowan replied, we just need him here until Talon gets into a good school. After that, he can do whatever. I froze mid-sweep. They weren't discussing my education. They weren't talking about my job. They weren't talking about anything involving my existence as a separate human being. They were talking about me like an appliance that needed to stay plugged in for optimal performance. I quietly pulled out my phone and hit record, leaning the broom against the counter and pretending to wipe the table. Kira, he doesn't need school. He's built-in help. Rowan, yeah, we'll put everything into Talon. Arden will be fine. He's used to figuring it out. Talon walked by at that moment, bowl of cereal in hand. We out of milk? Rowan said, Arden, buy more tomorrow. Sure, I replied. Should I buy diapers, too, since I'm already the designated parent? Kira said, don't start. Too late, I said. They resumed their whisper fighting, oblivious that Mira now stood beside me, a tiny witness munching dry cereal. I ended the recording and slipped the phone into my pocket. My heart wasn't racing. I was too annoyed to be nervous. It felt like someone had labeled me Employee of the Month without the pay raise. That night, after putting Mira to bed, I sat on the back steps and called Uncle Bram. He answered on the 3rd ring. Arden, everything okay? Define okay, I said. Does having your parents say your free labor count as okay? He went quiet. Arden, what? I sent you something. I texted him the recording. A solid minute of silence followed. Then he said, stay put. I'm on my way. Can you bring snacks? I asked. I'm out of coping food. Arden, he said. Okay. Okay. Serious. Got it. He arrived in 20 minutes, fast enough to suggest he broke the sound barrier. He didn't come alone. Grandpa Lel's truck pulled up behind him. Then Grandma Nola's compact. Then Cousin Jalen's beat-up SUV. Then Reeves' car, which always smelled of pine trees and regret. 5 adults, 4 cars, 0 chill. They marched across the lawn like a union strike. Rowan opened the door. What is this? Bram walked right past him. Family meeting. Rowan sputtered like a clogged engine. Nola asked, where is Arden? I stepped into view, Mira still clinging to my leg, sensing the shift in atmosphere. Kira walked in from the kitchen, freezing at the sight of everyone. Why are you here? Grandpa Lel spoke. We need to talk about where the money we've been sending has gone. Boom. Silence. Talon paused mid-bite in the living room, as if his chewing might be subpoenaed. Rowan crossed his arms. We don't owe anyone an explanation. Bram pulled out his phone. Play it. The recording filled the kitchen. Every word, every whisper, every mention of built-in help. Kira went pale. Rowan tried to interrupt 3 times, but Bram held up a single finger each time, silencing him like a toddler. When it ended, Kira said, "That's taken out of context." "Yeah," I said. "The context being me doing everything while you plan my unpaid future." Jalen muttered, "Holy shit," under his breath. Reeve coughed to hide a laugh. Lel stepped forward. "Rowan, we sent money every month for Arden, Talon, and Mira. Not just Talon." "Where is it?" Rowan stammered, "This is our house, our business." Bram said, "Not anymore." Kira snapped, "Arden, you betrayed us." "Well," I said, "I tried leaving a suggestion card first, but you never set up the box." The room exploded. Voices overlapped. Rowan yelled. Kira cried. Mira started humming to herself, hating loud noises. Talon asked if he could go back to his game. Lel told him to sit down. Nola picked up Mira and carried her into another room. Finally, Lel said, "Arden, go pack your things. You're coming with us." Rowan stepped in front of the hallway. "He's not going anywhere." Jalen stepped in front of Rowan. "Move." Reeve added, "Don't make this weird." I walked past Rowan. He grabbed my arm. I looked at his hand. "Let go." "Seriously, I don't have the energy to make this a whole scene." He let go. I packed fast: clothes, my warehouse uniform, the hidden brochure folder, Mira's drawing she'd shoved into my bag, and the backpack I always kept ready for emergencies. When we walked out, Rowan followed us to the lawn, yelling my name. Kira cried theatrically. Talon watched from the window like we were a sitcom. Bram opened the car door. "For me." "Arden, in." I got in. Lel said, "This isn't over." He was right. It was just getting started. A week after I moved in with Lel and Nola, things almost felt normal. Talon kept texting me random memes as if nothing had happened. Mira called from the house phone, whispering, "Hi, Arden," like she was running an underground operation. Rowan's phone calls cycled between "come home now" and "you're being irrational." I ignored all of it. Then Talon called one afternoon, sounding jittery. "Arden," he whispered, "I found something." I wasn't even snooping. Dad told me to find the car insurance papers and I opened the wrong box. "When you say wrong box," I said, "define wrong." "The locked metal one." Define opened. I found the key taped under the desk drawer. I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Okay, Talon. What's in the box?" A paper shuffling, then a sharp inhale. "There's, money stuff." "Like big money?" "Like a lot." "Please don't make me guess the amount," I said. 200,000, he blurted. "And it's not just random savings. It's an education fund, a custodial account. It has all 3 of our names on it. Yours, mine, Mira's. Deposits every year from everyone in the family." My jaw clenched so hard my teeth hurt. "Bring the folder to Grandpa's," I said. "Don't show Dad. Don't mention me. Just get in your bike lane, buddy." He arrived an hour later, sweaty, nervous, clutching the metal box like it contained nuclear codes. Lel opened the lid and looked at the paperwork. His eyebrows slowly disappeared into his hairline. "This," he said, "was meant for all of you. Your parents convinced us it was being saved for equal future needs." Bram showed up within 20 minutes, seemingly psychic when trouble brewed. He skimmed the documents, nodded once, and said, "All right, get Rowan on the phone. We're doing this now." "Great," I said. "Family round 2. "Arden," Bram snapped. Right. Serious." We piled into cars and drove to Rowan and Kira's house. They must have seen us coming, because Rowan opened the door before Bram even knocked. What now? Rowan said. Bram held up the metal box. Explain. Rowan's face drained. Kira appeared behind him, clutching a dish towel like she was preparing for a duel. You weren't supposed to take that, Rowan said. Oh, awesome, I said. It's a confession speedrun. Lel stepped forward. This fund was for all 3 kids. Where is Arden's portion? Rowan stuttered. We were saving it. We had a plan. Funny, I said. Because my plan involved going to college, and yours involved me washing dishes until I turned to dust. Kira snapped, You don't deserve that money. You never needed it. I also never needed to be the living nanny, I said. Yet, here we are. The yelling started, the kind where everyone tries to talk louder than the other, so no one actually hears anything. Mira peeked from behind the staircase railing, always watching from odd angles during arguments. Finally, Bram cut through it all. Transfer Arden's share now, or we involve legal action. Rowan paced the hallway like he was hunted by invisible wolves. Kira kept muttering about ungrateful children. They both disappeared into their office, and after 10 long minutes, Rowan emerged looking like someone stole his favorite tool set. It's done, Rowan said, voice tight. Bram checked his phone. Confirmed. He's the custodian, so he could move it. He just didn't want to. I leaned against the wall. Wow, didn't even need dramatic music. Before Rowan could reply, Nola called out from the living room. Where is the folder that was in our locked cabinet? Rowan blinked. What folder? The one that went missing the day Arden left, Nola said, holding an empty file sleeve. The lock wasn't broken. Lel turned toward him. Someone used a key. Rowan's eye twitched. We don't have your keys. Yeah, I said. Just like I don't have a social life. We searched the house top to bottom. No folder. Bram made a note on his phone, saying he'd handle it legally. It wasn't just a folder, either. It was Nola's locked cabinet folder, old financial paperwork, family deposits, the stuff you keep secured because it can ruin your day. Then Talon decided he was done. He grabbed a duffel bag, walked right past Rowan and Kira, and said, I'm staying with Arden. Kira shrieked, You're abandoning us. Talon said, You abandoned basic fairness, so Rowan tried grabbing the duffel. Talon jerked it back. Dad, stop. Seriously, don't make me call Lel's lawyer. I clapped slowly. Proud of you, man. We all walked outside together. Rowan followed us to the driveway, yelling things about betrayal and responsibility. Mira pressed her face to the window, like we were characters in a soap opera she wasn't allowed to watch. 2 neighbors walked by with their dogs, slowing down to enjoy the free entertainment. I waved at them. Rowan yelled, Don't wave at people during serious conversations. Sorry, my mistake, I said. I'll schedule my greetings next time. When we reached the cars, Rowan stood in front of the driveway, as if he thought he was Gandalf preventing passage. Lel honked once. Rowan didn't move. Bram rolled down the window. Rowan, if you don't move in the next 10 seconds, I'm calling the cops. Rowan moved. Back at Lel and Nola's house, we unloaded Talon's stuff. As I walked inside, Nola's voice echoed from the kitchen. Lel, the folder is here. We rushed in. The missing folder sat in the middle of the counter. Only now, the documents inside were not the documents we had before, and that was the first sign things were about to get much, much worse. The morning after the mystery folder reappeared, Lel spread the papers out on the table like he was analyzing a crime scene. Half the documents were missing, the ones left were rearranged, and a few pages were completely new, recently printed, judging by the paper's scent. Yes, paper smells. These pages weren't here before, Lel said. Bram leaned in. Someone replaced them, I said. Wow. Truly the Ocean's 11 of suburban dads. Talon snorted. Nola gave us the quiet look she used when concentrating. Before we could dig deeper, Mira called, whispering again. Arden, Daddy's mad. Which time? I asked. He said you stole something. And he's yelling at papers. Yep. Parental meltdown phase 2. That week, the harassment started as if Rowan had downloaded a step-by-step guide titled, How to Become a Full-Time Menace. First incident, my car. I walked outside to go to work and found the word ungrateful carved into both doors, deep, as if someone had taken their time. The kind of damage that declares, I'm upset and also bored. I stared at it for a long second and said, well, at least they spelled it right. Lel came out behind me, saw the damage, inhaled sharply, and immediately went inside to check the cameras. The footage showed a blurry, shapeless figure at 2 a.m. Hoodie, baggy pants, hands in pockets. Talon looked at the screen. That's Dad's walk. Lel groaned, I know that walk. Next incident, the warehouse. My supervisor, Decker, pulled me aside halfway through my shift. He looked exhausted, like he'd just survived a customer service seminar. Arden, he said, we got some anonymous calls about you. Oh, good, I said. Was it compliments, fan mail, a gift basket, maybe? No, he said flatly. Someone claimed you've been stealing equipment. I stared at him. I steal nothing. I don't even take the free pens. Decker sighed. I know, but I have to suspend you until we clear it. Cool, I said. Add it to the growing list of things I didn't ask for. He told me to clock out. I did. Then I sat in my car, staring at the carved insult for a full minute before driving home. When I got there, Talon was pacing the driveway like a worried golden retriever. Arden, something happened at school. Of course it did. He handed me his phone. Screenshots of emails sent to teachers, claiming Talon was emotionally unstable and being brainwashed by manipulative family members. Talon, I said, congrats. You're officially part of the circus. He sighed. I didn't ask for a circus. None of us did, I said. But hey, at least admission is free. Adult Protective Services showed up 2 days later for a full inspection. Someone had reported elder neglect at Lel and Nola's house. The APS worker looked around, saw the clean floors, the homemade bread cooling on the counter, and Lel polishing his antique model trains. She checked every room, asked scripted questions, then left with a face that said, "This is the most unnecessary thing I've done all week." That night, 3 new things happened. My debit card stopped working. I received 5 fraud alerts. Our mailbox contained a handwritten note. It said, "Stop causing problems. Come home or else." Written in shaky handwriting, like someone who couldn't decide if they were threatening me or writing a ransom letter for a stuffed animal. Talon said, "That doesn't look like Dad's handwriting." Yeah, I said. Dad writes like a doctor, but angrier. We checked the cameras. Same hoodie person, same walk, same 2 a.m. timestamp. The next morning, Rowan and Kira filed for emergency custody of Talon. What? Talon shouted when Bram told him. Congrats, I said, you leveled up. New side quest unlocked. Bram rubbed his temples. They're claiming your grandparents are manipulating you. Talon blinked. Have they met me? I barely listened to instructions. That afternoon, Lel went back through the folder again, slower this time, like he was reading a contract written by a snake. These pages don't belong here, he said. Bram leaned in. Someone hadn't just returned it, they'd swapped the contents. Half the original documents were missing, a few pages were rearranged, and several new ones looked freshly printed. The kind of evidence that still smelled of warm ink and bad intentions. Rowan planted these, Bram said. He's trying to build a narrative. Ah, yes, I said. The narrative where he's the victim and I'm the villainous dishwasher. That night, Mira called again. Arden, Mommy made me write notes. She said I had to. I froze. Notes like what? I'm not supposed to tell you. Mira, tell me. I write what she says and put them in the mailbox. I closed my eyes. Okay, Mira, listen. You're not in trouble. Not even a little. Keep the notes. Don't put them outside. Bring them to me when you can. Okay, she whispered. As if the week wasn't enough, the final cherry on top came when we went out to pick up groceries. Lel stepped into the yard and stopped. Who moved the shed door? We checked inside. Nothing major stolen, but everything had been rummaged through. Old boxes, holiday decorations, stored papers. Someone had been looking for something specific. Yeah, not creepy at all, I said. Shed's haunted now. Talon elbowed me. Not the time. Oh, it's always the time, I said. We checked the camera footage again. Same hoodie figure, same walk, same time of night. At this point, Rowan might as well have been submitting a resume for Neighborhood Menace of the Year. Bram sat at the dining table, flipping through the altered documents. This isn't random, he said. He's digging for something. Like what? I asked. Something old, Lel said. Something buried. The problem was we had no idea what yet, but Rowan did. And he wasn't done. The court date landed faster than any of us expected. Bram said Rowan pushed the paperwork through with suspicious enthusiasm, fitting for a man who carved ungrateful into a Honda. We showed up early, me, Talon, Lel, and Nola, because Bram said judges liked punctual people and hated chaos. Unfortunately for everyone, chaos did not feel the same way about us. Rowan and Kira arrived 10 minutes later with an attorney who looked like he charged extra for scowling. Rowan gave me a look, half triumph, half wait till I yell at you again. I nodded politely, as if greeting a cashier. Kira grabbed Talon's sleeve as he walked by her. He pulled away. Don't, Rowan hissed. You're brainwashed. Talon said, by who? Grandpa's grilled cheese? We went inside. The judge called us up. Bram presented the recording first. Rowan's attorney objected, citing invasion of privacy, but Bram simply gestured at Rowan. My client recorded his parents describing him as property. We're going to play it. The judge lifted an eyebrow. Proceed. The recording echoed through the chamber. Arden doesn't need college. He's built-in help. We need him here for Mira. When it ended, the judge looked at Rowan like she'd discovered mold under a rug. Then Bram presented the altered folder, its mysterious reappearance, photos of my vandalized car, my suspension paperwork from Decker, the APS report for Lel and Nola, and even screenshots of the odd mailbox notes Mira admitted writing. Rowan's attorney tried his best. Your Honor, none of this proves my client's engaged in wrongdoing. Children misinterpret things. Right, I said, kids vandalize cars all the time. Classic after-school activity. The judge paused. Mr. Arden, please refrain from commentary. Sorry, I said. It slipped out. Talon was next. Bram had him read a short statement he wrote about leaving home, not emotional, just facts, times, dates, instructions, responsibilities, and the schedule Rowan and Kira had taped to the fridge like a hostage duty chart. Rowan kept shifting in his seat. Kira kept whispering, "This is ridiculous." Then came the surprise witness, Decker. He walked up in his neon warehouse vest, not wanting to lose it. He explained the anonymous calls reporting me for theft, the suspension, and the cleared investigation. Rowan glared at him as if he'd personally ended the family bloodline. Next was a counselor from Talon's school who confirmed someone anonymously emailed staff calling Talon unstable and manipulated. The timestamps matched nights Rowan and Kira claimed they were asleep. By the time Bram finished, Rowan's attorney looked like he wanted to fake a medical emergency and sprint out of the building. The judge didn't deliberate long. She said, temporary guardianship of Talon goes to Lel and Nola. Restraining orders will be issued against Rowan and Kira. Any further attempts at harassment will result in criminal charges. Kira burst into tears so loud the court clerk flinched. Rowan punched the table with his palm like he was trying to kill a fly with emotional damage. Talon leaned toward me. That went better than expected. I whispered back, yeah, 0 explosions. Impressive restraint. We drove home in silence, not awkward, but a silence that felt like the house was finally breathing normally. But the peace didn't last long. That night, Nola's phone rang from an unknown number. She answered, and Mira's voice came through in a whisper, like she was hiding inside the phone itself. Grandma, can you come get me? Lel didn't say a word. He just grabbed his keys. 10 minutes later, we were back at the house, and Mira stood in the doorway, hugging her backpack to her chest. Mira, I said, kneeling. What happened? She shuffled inside, shut the door behind her, and pulled a handful of folded notes from her bag. I didn't put these in the mailbox, she whispered. Mom said I had to. But I didn't want to. I hid them. She handed them to me. The handwriting matched the notes we'd found, threats, guilt trips, bizarrely worded lines like, make the house normal again. Talon wrapped a blanket around her. Nola poured her water. Lel checked the door locks twice. Then Mira said something that made the whole room freeze. Dad said we have to find the papers from before Arden. He said they were in the house somewhere, and we need them so everything doesn't fall apart again. Lel's face tightened. Those wouldn't be in the cabinet folder, he said quietly. Those were kept somewhere else. Papers from before me? I asked. What papers? Mira looked at me. Slowly about the first one. Silence. Lel and Nola exchanged a look, one I'd never seen before, not shock, not confusion, but recognition. Lel went to the coat closet, pulled out a stack of old storage boxes, and set them on the dining table. Nola opened one of the lids and sifted through envelopes. She pulled out a sealed manila file labeled Rowan/Kira placement records. Bram arrived within minutes. Someone must have texted him a simple, come now. He opened the file. Inside were adoption release papers. Rowan and Kira had a baby years before me, a child they handed to a distant relative when they weren't ready to parent. A child named Sable. The name hit the table like a dropped hammer. In the paperwork was something else, a letter from 2 months ago where Sable contacted Rowan and Kira, asking to meet. Bram said, this is what Rowan was looking for. This is why he planted documents. This is why he wants money. Talon whispered, he wanted to impress them. Lel nodded slowly. I leaned back in the chair. So, let me get this straight. Rowan tried to sabotage my job, steal the trust fund, stalk the house, and file for custody because he's trying to win back the kid he ditched before me. Bram didn't answer. He didn't need to. For once, even I didn't have a sarcastic comment ready. Rowan's chaos finally made sense, and somehow, that made it worse. 11 years passed quickly after the Sable file came out. I finished my associate program, slid into full-time work at a machining shop, and saved every extra dollar like I was training for the Olympics. Talon completed his schooling, built a life free of Rowan and Kira's drama, and only came home for holidays or the occasional "please tell me you have extra batteries" emergency. Mira turned 18, walked out of Rowan and Kira's house the same afternoon, and moved into the spare room in my place. Rowan and Kira, well, they burned through bridges like they were hosting a bonfire. The family cut off financial help. Sable emailed once, saying they didn't want to be used as a second-chance trophy, then ghosted them permanently. Talon blocked them, Mira blocked them, even Nola blocked them, and she still sent handwritten thank you notes to grocery clerks. Eventually, Rowan and Kira ended up renting a cramped duplex far from town. Rumor had it they fought with 3 landlords before settling there. I hadn't seen them in months. I was pushing 30 by then, and my life finally felt like mine, until the afternoon they arrived on my driveway uninvited. The restraining orders didn't last forever. By then, they'd expired, but I still had every old report, every timestamp, and zero patience. It was a Saturday. Talon was home for the weekend, helping Mira set up shelves while I unloaded groceries. The air was calm, birds chirping, the kind of peaceful day where you almost forgot you were raised by 2 people who treated you like a multi-tool. Then Rowan's gray SUV rolled up behind my parked car. I didn't even have time to say, "You've got to be kidding me," before Rowan got out, slamming the door as if trying to dent it. Kira emerged from the passenger side, wearing sunglasses and the posture of someone preparing to film a dramatic monologue. Talon whispered, "Round 3," and stepped behind me. Mira muttered, "Of course they show up today." Rowan marched toward us like he owned the place. "Arden," he said, "we need to talk." "Cool," I said. "Didn't schedule anything, but sure, what's up?" He looked around the house like he was appraising it. "This place is nice." "Thanks," I said. "I built it with the money I didn't spend on therapy." He ignored that. "We heard you got a promotion," Kira said, stepping forward. "Congratulations." "Wow," I said. "A compliment. Did you practice that in the car?" Rowan cleared his throat, annoyed. "Listen, your mother and I are in a difficult situation financially." "There it is," Talon murmured. Rowan continued. "And given everything we did for you growing up, housing you, feeding you, it's fair you help us now." I laughed. Not dramatically, not mockingly, just a single, sharp laugh that came out like a reflex. "You want money from me?" "Not want," Rowan corrected. "Deserve." Talon whispered, "Bro, he's actually saying the quiet part out loud." Kira stepped closer. "Arden, this house is basically ours. If you think about it, you wouldn't be here without us." "True," I said. "But also, without you, I wouldn't have car scratches, fake APS reports, job suspensions, and a restraining order timeline." "Let's not do math today." Rowan's jaw clenched. "We're asking for what's fair." I crossed my arms. "If fairness is the topic, great. Let's get the legal documents that say you have any claim here." Kira snapped, "Don't talk to us like we're strangers." "Strangers?" I said. "Strangers don't break into sheds at night." Rowan stepped forward like he planned to push past me toward the door. I didn't move. "Rowan," I said calmly. "If you take one more step, you're going to add trespassing to your hobby list." He lifted his chin. "You wouldn't." I sighed and pulled out my phone. "Okay, witness this shocking twist." "I am dialing security." Talon muttered, "Cue the theme music." 2 minutes later, a security patrol car pulled up. The guard stepped out, tall guy, sunglasses, bored expression of a man who's seen too much HOA drama. "Sir," the guard said to Rowan, "you need to leave the property." Rowan puffed up like a balloon filled with rage. "This is my son's house." The guard looked at me. I said, "No, really not." Kira tried softening her voice. "We're family. We have rights." The guard replied, "Ma'am, the only right you have here is the right to turn around." Rowan tried arguing. Kira tried crying. Neither worked. When the guard stepped forward, Rowan backed up fast. Kira grabbed his sleeve and hissed something about not making it worse. They finally retreated to their SUV, still yelling things about ingratitude out the window. The guard watched them leave, scribbled a report, and said, "You want a trespass notice filed?" "Yes," I said. Inside, Talon was already in the kitchen unpacking groceries like nothing happened. Mira was sitting on the counter, eating grapes straight from the container. "Nice timing," she said. "We just finished the shelves." I nodded. "Cool." I handled the pests outside. Talon gave me a low whistle. "You didn't even flinch out there." "Why would I?" I said. I already spent my childhood dealing with them. This was just the encore. Lel and Nola arrived 20 minutes later with a bag of homemade rolls. Bram texted, asking for an update. Mira handed me the screwdriver she'd been using, as if we were just finishing a normal Saturday project. I filed the trespass notice. We ate the rolls. The shelves stayed up. The peace stayed, too. How many encores does a childhood truly get?